Why was the Titanic considered unsinkable? The Titanic, the most famous ship in history, was promoted as a marvel of engineering and was called unsinkable. However, in the early hours of April 15, 1912, on its maiden voyage, this giant of the seas sank in the North Atlantic. How could a vessel believed to be invulnerable end up at the bottom of the ocean? Who labeled it as unsinkable and why? Join us in discovering the truth behind the Titanic myth. In the early 20th century, the shipbuilding industry experienced an era of great technological advancements. The Titanic, built by the Harland and Wolff Company in Belfast and owned by the White Star Line, was the largest and most luxurious passenger ship of its time. The Titanic's impressive features included a colossal size of 269 meters in length, 28 meters in width, and 53 meters in height. It had an advanced structure composed of a riveted steel hull and watertight bulkheads, as well as spectacular speed and luxury. It had an engine that generated 46,000 horsepower, along with luxurious interiors comparable to a five-star hotel. These advancements led many to believe that the Titanic was virtually indestructible. But who was responsible for this claim? Who said it was unsinkable? Contrary to popular belief, White Star Line never officially promoted the Titanic as unsinkable. However, similar expressions were used in various publications and speeches of the time. A 1911 article from the Shipbuilder magazine was one of the first sources to describe the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic, as practically unsinkable. They did so because the design of these ships included watertight compartments. There were also statements from White Star Line employees, such as Philip Franklin, the company's vice president in the United States, who declared before the disaster, "We believe the Titanic is unsinkable." Additionally, public perception and the press, combined with advanced technology, engineers' testimonies, and exaggerated marketing, led people to assume that the Titanic was impossible to sink. The myth of its unsinkability did not arise from a direct statement but from a collective exaggeration that grew over time. The Titanic incorporated several safety innovations that contributed to the idea that it was indestructible. It had 16 watertight compartments with automatic doors designed to isolate sections in case of an emergency. It was believed that the ship could remain afloat even if 4 compartments flooded. Additionally, it had a reinforced double bottom. The lower structure of the ship had 2 layers of steel for added strength and was built with high-quality materials. The best steel available at the time was used, although it was later discovered that its brittleness at low temperatures contributed to the disaster. These innovations were impressive, but they had limitations that were not considered. The problem with the Titanic was not a lack of technology but overconfidence in it. Although the watertight compartments were designed to contain flooding, they did not extend to the upper deck, which allowed water to flow from one compartment to another like a domino effect. The Titanic had only 20 lifeboats, enough for about 1,178 people, even though it carried more than 2,200 passengers and crew. The insufficient number of lifeboats also contributed to the disaster. The belief in the ship's unsinkability led to the failure to prioritize a greater number of lifeboats. Additionally, the excessive speed at which it was traveling, despite ice warnings along the route, contributed to the tragedy. The Titanic was traveling at 22 knots, 41 kilometers per hour, making any evasive maneuver difficult. In other words, the Titanic was not unsinkable, but its design made it appear so, until it faced an accident more severe than anticipated. The big question is, why did it sink so quickly? The impact with the iceberg opened a series of cracks in the hull and caused 6 compartments to flood, exceeding the limit of 4 that it could withstand. The water spilled from one compartment to another, tilting the ship and accelerating its sinking. The key factors in this disaster were the fragility of the steel, as modern studies suggest that the Titanic steel was more brittle at low temperatures, increasing the damage from the impact. Defective rivets, as forensic analysis has revealed that some were not strong enough and broke easily upon impact. And finally, the lack of a quick response. The crew delayed reacting and loading the lifeboats, resulting in many unnecessary deaths. the Titanic sank in less than 3 hours, forever disproving the idea that it was unsinkable.